Welcome to another edition of the Street Report. I am Easy Street.
And I am KingNABI the Great.
KingNABI the Great, a.k.a. Kwaku.
What's going on?
The guy that is killing YouTube right now. How many followers you got, man?
Just about 50,000.
50,000?
Yeah.
Please, followers of KingNABI the Great, could you please follow me on my YouTube channel? Put it on the screen right now. I'm begging you. And follow him on Twitter and Instagram. Hey, listen, we are at Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C. on U Street hanging out. We already had our half smoked and our chili cheese fries. If you're in the area, you know you got to stop past here sometime. And we're talking about some of the best films that came out in 2018. One of our favorite films was the book, The Green Book. Mm-hmm. That was a great film, bruh.
Yeah.
Dear Dolores,
I saw Dr. Shirley play the piano. He's like a genius, I think.
Mahershala Ali, this guy's a beast, man.
Mahershala Ali he's the, as far as actors in Hollywood in general, I believe that he's basically the future. He's not a young guy, you know, he's definitely a mature guy. But I think he's the future. As far as, you know, black actors go, I feel like he's that guy as far as just having range with characters, because the way that he played Don Shirley in this film, I already knew that he was great, but it just proved it to me even more.
Go ahead, give us the synopsis of the film.
Okay, so The Green Book is a film. It's based in the early 1960s. It's about the legendary pianist Don Shirley, who's from
New York. A real person, y'all. This is based on a true story.
This is based on a true story. So these are real people. He's about to go on tour through the Deep South, which, of course, in 1961 or 1962, in the early 60s, that's Jim Crow laws, that's extreme racism, that's, you know, black bathroom or colored bathroom, white bathroom. That's the time period that we're in. And he's going on tour in the Deep South where it's basically the front lines of that. So he needs a bodyguard. He needs somebody to roll with him to make sure that he's safe. He hires this
Italian. Forget about it. I just had to know that. Forget about it.
Hey, Tony Lips.
Before we start talking about the Italian guy, I am in love with Italian culture, music, food, and movies, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we should do something on our favorite Italian movies next.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of
we
them.
go all day. We go all day long.
Especially the gangster films. I mean, that's something that, like, especially early on YouTube, that's something that I really, like, almost specialized in, because I just love the mob movies, all those things. Yeah.
But the way they connected these two guys in The Green Book was amazing. The cinematography of this film was dope. The storyline, the editing, the gritty rawness of the whole story, the relationship, them showing the relationship between Mahershala and what was the Italian guy's name?
Tony Lips.
Tony Lips. This guy.
Yeah, and
he was the muscle.
Yeah, he was the muscle that Mahershala Ali, his character Don Shirley, needed so that he'd be safe. And another thing that he needed so that he'd be safe is the Green Book, which is why the film is called The Green Book. The Green Book, which I actually, honestly, I didn't really know about. I wasn't familiar with before seeing the film.
Yes.
It's actually a book that in Jim Crow America and racist America by a gentleman who worked for the post office whose last name was Green, a black gentleman. He created a book so that when people were traveling through the South, when black people were traveling through the South, they know where they could go and where not to go. So
restaurants,
restaurants, hotels. Where everywhere that you need to go on a road trip, they'll give you basically a guide so that you don't go to the wrong place and get arrested.
Exactly, because you end up in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
that was some real stuff.
It could be a real issue. So, and hence the title, The Green Book. And I mean, this guy Tony Lips from the Bronx, they're mirror opposites, and it's like the Odd Couple, basically. I mean,
very much so.
Yeah, you've got Mahershala.
Great analogy.
Yeah, you've got Mahershala Ali, who's this just real straight-lined, super classy, super like kind of nose in the air,
rich too.
Yeah, super rich,
higher class,
exactly. All those things. God,
well dressed,
spoke
well
spoken, super educated. At any rate, his bodyguard is this Italian guy from the Bronx who's not well spoken. You know, he was
his opposite, man.
He was the total opposite, and he was white, and he was racist. So he was the extreme opposite.
Right, because the part in the early part of the film when the two black guys were in the kitchen with his wife, and they were kind of helping. They were maintenance men, and they drank from two glasses.
Yeah.
He threw the glasses away after the black guys drank it and was like, "Oh, these moolies."
Yeah, I'm not drinking after.
I'm not. Yeah,
exactly.
and you know there were plenty, and I'm glad. You know, I will say this: I'm glad that in the movie The Green Book they went ahead and used racist terminology on behalf of the Italians.
Yeah, true.
I'm glad they did that.
You've got to keep it authentic.
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing that in order for a film like this, any film that's based on a true story, or any film that depicts a very important period in life or in time or whatever the case may be in our generation, you have to be authentic with how the people spoke, the way that they acted in that period of time, and that's how Italians. That's how they spoke about black people. Yeah, paisano. And they call black people moolies, which I believe means like eggplant or something.
Right,
like that.
right.
And that's how he talked. That's how his friends talked, and all that. And that's kind of how they were, which added an extra bit of how are these guys gonna come together and actually be able to.
But by the end of the movie, this is a very powerful film, though, man. By the end of the movie, it was amazing. And you know, not to give the whole movie away because, you know, spoiler alert, we don't want to tell you everything because we want you to see the film, The Green Book. But I really, there's one scene that I think is actually two scenes that are crucial to me in the film as they take this car ride going from the East Coast, going through Pennsylvania, going through Indiana and Ohio, and then going down south. The part where Tony told Dr. Shirley, Dr. Stanley, that he was blacker than him. Remember that part? He's like, I'm black. I know more about your people than you.
Yeah.
And it was the truth.
And it was. And the doctor, in general, Mahershala Ali's character kind of brings into the forefront something that's kind of I don't know if you say a sensitive topic among black people, but it's something that isn't spoken about too much, which is not exactly like a Uncle Tom type, but just a person who doesn't relate as well with the rest of black culture, which was what
I guess we ain't all the same, y'all.
Yeah, I know.
We're not a monolith at all.
Yeah, exactly. And it proves that we're not all the same type of people, and that even us ourselves within our own community, we kind of almost expect each other to act the same or to do certain things. Shirley didn't do a lot of these things that the quote unquote typical black person would do, like eat fried chicken, which Tony did, but
he ate a lot of food in that car, man.
Yeah, exactly.
The other part of this film, Kwaku, that I found very interesting was this. We talked about the fact that Tony said that I'm blacker than you. This happened at a time when they were in the car listening to Chubby Checker, Little Richard, and all these other powerful icons in black music. And, you know, the Good Doctor was not even really aware of them. But he played piano. He was one of the best in the world. This guy had played for a couple of American presidents, was traveling all over the country and all over the world, you know, and everyone thought he was one of the greatest pianists of that time. But yet, he had never played black music. He had never played black music. And the one scene that I will talk about, and I'm glad that they put this in the film, you know what scene I'm talking about? I'm talking about the scene where they ended up in the black restaurant with the black folks, and he ended up playing with the band. What did you think about that scene?
I felt like, that was
powerful.
that was extremely. It was like a homecoming sort of.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It was like him coming, because that wasn't his scene at all. That was something that he almost kind of looked down on. That he almost thought was to his personality, his character in the movie, that he felt was almost beneath him, or wasn't, on his level as far as skill, as far as the craft of musically. Being that he was a trained pianist, however, when they had that moment, it was kind of like a homecoming where he realized, like, yeah, this soul is just in us,
right?
And that spirit for music, whether you're classically trained or whether you learned yourself, when it's in you, and these people that I'm playing with are exhibiting that same type of artistry that I am.
Right.
We're in different.
I think that he needed that. Mm-hmm. I think that he needed that moment to let him know that, hey, look, man, yeah, I'm black too. I can play that too, and I got the same talent. I just don't choose to go down this path. But the other part, musically, the other part that I found interesting, and then we'll rate the film next, and then we'll close out, was this. It showed you a little bit about the music industry in regards to, and the same thing is going on in today's music industry as far as them and these record companies and executives shaping the artists. Like, there were also times when he made comments about the record companies and how they wanted him to, the kind of music that they wanted him to produce, how he was being marketed. These are all things that are still going on today in current music. Everyone that has a record deal, besides people like Jay-Z and Beyonce that own their own company, they pretty much have to adhere to rules and laws and are pretty much having to do exactly what the record companies want them to do as well. I thought that was interesting in the film. Yeah,
and that is something that I guess has never stopped, as far as within the record industry.
They've been pimping us for a long time, y'all. A very long time as black artists.
A very long time.
They did it to James Brown. They did it to Red Fox. They did it to Sammy Davis Jr. Yep. Michael Jackson. Prince,
everybody, and they want to they feel like what they want to portray with popular black music is almost, I guess, for lack of better words, like the lowest hanging fruit. They don't want to portray the diversity, the range, they have an image that, or the record industry and really, the media in general have that, or have had an image that they want to perpetuate about black people. And through musicians, they do the same thing, which is why certain artists may put out certain music or may have a certain image that isn't even really their true self. Right. But they got to do what they got to do.
And I'm glad you said that. And I think that's what happened to the doctor, man. I think that he was, he had this talent. He was blessed with it. But they were molding him. Yeah, they were shaping him. We want you to do this so we can be able to sell more records. And that is still going on today as we speak. Now, it is time for us to grade the Green Book. Last time I went first. You get to go first this time. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And you got to tell us why.
Okay. My rating for this movie, drum roll please. I will give it a 4, a solid 4. And the reason I give this film a 4 out of 5 is because I feel, one thing about the film that I didn't get to say is I feel like it has Oscar bait written all over it. It's a period piece. We have great talent in it. It's a piece that deals with issues of race. There's a lot of things about this film that I guess are quote unquote Oscar bait.
And some other issues that are going to push it over the top that we did not mention.
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly.
If you saw the film, you already know what I'm talking about, but we're not talking about it.
We're not, which are going to make it, exactly, which are going to push over that other. So that being said, that's what you get, and you're getting a feel-good movie. You're getting, it's not a heavily, it's a movie that's set in a racial time period. However, and I've heard a lot of people kind of turned off because they didn't go deep into the Green Book aspect, even though it's called the Green Book. I don't think the film wasn't really meant to be about the Green Book, and I think that it did what it had to do with the Green Book, and I appreciated that. I appreciated how there were some comedic elements, things of that nature. The only reason I wouldn't give it, I guess, a 5 out of 5 is because, yeah, I do think certain things about it were certain things about it were were predictable. We expected it. Certain things about it were, it was almost like a reverse Driving Miss Daisy type of feel, and except now the black guy, you know, is in the back seat. The white guy is driving. It's a brute and a classy guy, and when they come together and they're on a road trip for a long time, both of them are able to grow. One's able to be a little bit more down to earth. The other one's able to they're able to just understand each other's perspectives, and that's something that I don't think takes away from the film. I just think it makes it not a perfect film only because it's something that we've seen before a lot and we kind of know where it's going.
Okay. I am a huge fan of Black History. Black History Month is my favorite month of the year. And by the way, for anybody watching this, I always hear people talking about, well, they gave us the shortest month of the year. February, the shortest month of the year for Black History Month. No. Folks, they didn't give us nothing. We chose February as the month that we wanted to celebrate Black History Month because of Carter G. Woodson, who established National Negro Week first, and we expanded it out to Black History Month. So there's a nugget for you right there, all right?
Dropping jewels.
All day long.
Exactly.
So I'm a fan of Black history. And this film shows you Black history from a racial, from a musical standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, and from a historic standpoint. The cinematography and the music in this film are amazing. They kept it 100 throughout this film. I mean, as far as between the relationship, the conversations between the doctor and also the Italian guy, how they were able to create a relationship from the beginning to the end. I don't want to kill the ending for you because this film is important to me because I think, especially in the time that we live in right now with so many social and political issues going on right now that are pulling people apart, this movie brings people together. So with that being said, like I did that, I switched it up. I'm giving this movie a 5.
5 out of 5.
I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 5 for those reasons, okay? Go see The Green Book.
Definitely go see The Green Book. It's definitely a great movie. Definitely a movie that you will enjoy. I think that they need to actually do a story too on Don Sterling, on the doctor himself.
Yes.
You know, just a biopic on just him and his life story, because I've heard that, you know, he's been through some interesting things on his own as well. But,
I think that we should also hope and pray that there is a documentary on The Green Book.
Exactly, yeah.
Because that's a whole story in itself.
Yeah,
and in this film, they can only show you so much.
So much, because the movie isn't really about the
It's
Green
not
Book
about the Green Book. It's about these two individuals and the things that they experience, man.
And that's very true. There needs to be a documentary. A documentary, I think, would actually be better than even a narrative movie.
Yes.
Just give us some education. Let us know the origin of the Green Book and the history of it and what it's been through over time. And another thing, one thing that I want to piggyback off of what you said is that, which was true, is that in these days of times where we're having all of these kind of over and under the table kind of conversations, about race relations, our president, you know, and the whole issue with that. This is one of those movies where, I guess, as some people may call it corny, but it really shows you how simple it is, that where you take two people, regardless of their understanding, their backgrounds, once you get to know a person and you get to know a person's true essence, who they are, you get to realize that race isn't as big of an issue. It's really just about human conversation, human compatibility. Just two humans, we all bleed red blood. We all have to live life on this earth. True, our color, obviously, me being black, I know that my color causes my life, certain situations in everyday life to be different than a person, you know, who's white or who's possibly from another culture or race. However, regardless of the differences, we have a ton of similarities, and this movie showed it by giving us two polar opposites that we're still able to, you know, to mesh, you know, to a degree.
Yep. So with that being said, if you haven't seen the movie Green Book, go see it. That is our time. This is the part of the show when I start begging, please, like James Brown, please.
Please, baby, please.
If I could just get some of this guy's followers on YouTube. Hey, listen, please.
Everyone, please subscribe.
Subscribe.
To Easy Streets channel, please.
Thank you.
You will love the content. He's been doing it for a long time, way longer than me, way more experience, way stronger in what he does than even I am in what I do.
Well, okay, so then if that's true, then how you got all them subscribers on YouTube and I only got a little? You know what? I tell you what. Follow this guy on Instagram and Twitter. Do it now, okay?
Please.
Please.
I got some merch.
Yeah, you got merch?
Yeah, I got merch. It's merch, right? KingNABI the Great Ones merch. And it's just merchandise, sweaties.
Yo, large, man. Large.
Yeah, I got you.
We're going to do this again, man. This is really good, man. As a matter of fact, you know, leave comments on his page, on his YouTube. And should we do this again?
Let us know. Let us know if we should come back and do it.
Do you like this?
I don't know. I hope you do. Let us know in the comments. And if you do like us, please give this video a like. You already know what to do. Subscribe to both channels. Hit the notification bell so you know when another video is posted, whether it's us together or us solo doing whatever we do. Please tune in.
Thanks, man. Also want to shout out to our good friends from Ben's Chili Bowl on U Street, right here in Washington, D.C. Several locations in our city. If you're not from Washington, D.C., the first place you need to go to when you get off that airplane, and you can, you know what? They got Ben's right there at the National Airport, bro. Get off the plane, stop by, get a half smoke, chili cheese fries, and one of them red drinks. Don't get strawberry or cherry. Get the red drink.
Talk about Black history. Ben's Chili Bowl is Black history.
Peace.
Peace.
Mafioso soul,